I want to show you a color that's darker than black. This is my secret color in acrylic portrait painting to help me get an even darker color than black. So when I need some rich, deep shadows, I want to really make the contrast pop. I choose this color. Now, not real often, but there's sometimes I just go for it. And it makes a huge difference. This is not a difficult color to obtain. You can purchase it at pretty much any art store, but I want to show you that color today and how I use it as I'm working on this portrait of Paul the Apostle praying. This is as he's in prison, and I'm trying to do it in a Caravaggio-esque style with a lot of contrast, a lot of drama. I did a grisaille first, then put some tenebristic chiaroscuro glazes on top. And I want to show you, again, how to use this secret color to make your paintings even darker than black. Let's do it. On my palette here, I've got, well, let's show you. I've got my raw umber dark and my ivory black, which I use those quite a bit more often in conjunction with ultramarine blue to really achieve a nice black. But let's show you that secret color that I use. Well, it's not a secret per se, except that you might not be aware of what it is. But I'm going to show you. And that color is dioxazine purple. All right, dioxazine purple. It is just a really, really nice, intense color. And you're going to see that right there. And it's sitting next to ivory black. Now, if you discern, you can tell that this dioxazine purple is just a little darker in value than the ivory black sitting to the right of it. And in fact, you can't even see the purple color. That's how dark it is, until you take some of that and distribute it into some matte medium. So we take a little bit of that paint right here, and I've got my clear matte medium. When I add that here to the matte medium, suddenly you will see the purple emerge as I disperse the concentration of this pigment out, and that really makes a big difference. Now, on my canvas right now, as I use this dioxazine purple on top, you can notice how much darker that is than the rest of it, where I just used raw umber dark, ultramarine blue, and some alizarin crimson. This just got a much richer dark, and I applied it on top of what was already there, and it's just really enhanced that area. And let's do that to the rest of it. Now, first, again, we're going to take that dioxazine purple, kind of spread it out a little bit. Before we apply it, just so it doesn't look too gaudy, because we might see the intense purple of it, let's just tone it down with a little bit of Indian yellow. Now, this is kind of a surprise. You wouldn't think that using this kind of lighter color would make a difference. But it does. All right, so we got this Indian yellow right here, just a little bit of it, and we're going to add that to this dioxazine purple, and it's going to make a brown because, you know, yellow and purple make brown. That's how complementary colors work when we mix them together. And it's just going to kind of enrich it a little bit. Now, the nice thing about Indian yellow, it's a transparent pigment. And so is dioxazine purple. So by adding this Indian yellow, we're not actually lightening the value of this dioxazine purple. Maybe just a tiny, tiny bit, but not much. And so that's actually going to just enrich the color more. But just so it doesn't get too reddish or too orangey, let's just add a little bit of ultramarine blue to that. All right, just to tone it down, just a little bit of ultramarine blue. Maybe just a pinch of raw umber dark. And then we can go ahead and we can add this to the upper area here, and that's going to darken what we already have even more. And you can see that going on, how much darker that is. I thought it was almost that black already, but it is just really, really enriching that area. Now, I can get a nice blend out of this. And I can go ahead and add some raw umber dark, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, all right, just to lighten this up a little bit. And maybe a bit of raw sienna and then some ultramarine blue, just so it's not too warm in tone. Okay, and then we'll just add maybe a bit of alizarin crimson and then some of this original mix back into it. And then that we have something to blend into so we can get a gradient here. So we go on top of everything. And I just wanted that really dark color in the upper corner, and then I'm also going to bring it behind Paul as a shadow as well. I'm going to brush into it with some varied brush strokes just to give it a little more richness. Again, let's add a little burnt sienna to this, warm it up, and we'll just place that right here. Okay, with just a pinch of raw sienna, we get a little bit of a lighter area. Blend that in. So we just have an area behind his head that's a little lighter in tone. Now again, I don't want that color to be too chromatically intense. So add just a bit of titanium white to it to cool it down a bit. Wipe off my brush so I can get a blend. And we'll just start to blend the other way a little bit here. Okay, and we're just going to continue on, adding this glaze as we go toward the window. Add a little more burnt sienna just to warm it up a bit. But again, I just wanted to, kind of shift the color a little bit and get that a little bit lighter in that area. Now, let's go ahead and just go back to that dioxazine purple, raw umber dark, and then a little bit of Indian yellow. And we'll go ahead and bring that down here. I'm adding a little bit of matte medium, but it's mostly just the paint. Mostly just the paint. And we just bring that in. Now it's going to look a little bit purplish at first, but I think it's going to end up drying a bit darker as we go down. So we cut this shadow in. Put that in. I want that nice and dark right there. I want just really to fade into almost a black color. And we'll just shade that in a little bit right there. Okay, and then we're going to blend it in on the edge here with a little bit of raw umber dark. Just get a bit of a gradient there. So this is kind of something I don't do too often, so as I'm doing the process, I'm a little bit invested in it. It's not quite as natural as what I normally do, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm just really concentrating on trying to blend it out. I'm confident that God will help me. If anything goes kind of strange, I'll be able to fix it up. But I think this should work nicely. Okay. Yeah, so just hit it with a little more ultramarine blue. Just cool that down a bit. And then we'll just kind of have to let it dry and let it do its thing and see how that works after it's all dried up. I'll add another bit of this glaze to the other side and just kind of darken that a little too. And then maybe a bit of a shadow under his arm. So we do want that to get just a little bit darker right there. Yeah. But you can see how much darker this has really gotten everything. So the only thing with the dioxazine purple is you do have to be careful because that color is pretty intense. So you have to balance it out. I don't know if I added enough if I added enough Indian yellow to the mix to really balance it. So I might have to go back over with another glaze to do that. But that's not something that'll be too difficult to do. So we'll just we'll balance that out if we have to. Just kind of fan this out a little bit A little shading right here. There. I like the blend a little bit better on this side. And just imagine we have some different tones kind of down this brick here. We really want to get that nice, robust, dark color. And I think Caravaggio probably used just a straight black, but I wanted to add more richness because I'm using acrylic and not oil, and you try to do everything you can to enhance that saturation of color a little bit and make it more intense. So we'll have to see how this all blends out. I'm not sure yet. I think it'll be good. It just tends to look more purplish while it's wet because it has the matte medium in it. So we'll just have to let it dry out and see how that all works out. Let's just do a quick glaze over this pile of clothing down here. We'll just go over that really quick. Just darken that a bit. Yeah, because we want that to be a little darker and not to stand out too much. Okay, so you can see how we've achieved a much darker color here than black, and you can see that over here. You can see it over on the other side. The colors aren't too crazy, and I think when it dries, it's gonna get just a little lighter and it's gonna smooth out a bit. So we'll be in good shape by the time this dries out. But hey, I hope this video helped. That's my little tutorial on my secret color that gets darker than black. If you found it helpful, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Share this video with your friends, of course. And check out my other tutorials at realisticacrylic.com, where I have several tips, tutorials, and videos, classes to help you get better in your portrait painting. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.